Hello, I'm Jeremy Vine, and this is Panorama. To some, they're just a bit of fun.
Good kill.
To others, they're a threat to our well-being.
This is dangerous. This is a dangerous tool in our house.
24 million people in Britain play computer games, but how many become addicted?
I would never inflict this game on anyone. This game is just a disease.
We reveal the hidden devices in the games designed to keep us wanting more.
I think people don't necessarily understand how powerful some game mechanics can be.
Half of all Britain's homes now have at least one computer games console in them. The industry employs around 30,000 people in this country, and we are widely acknowledged to have some of the best games designers on the planet. World of Warcraft, the most popular online game ever, launches its latest edition at midnight tonight. And with Christmas pester power at its peak, Raphael Rowe has been investigating the controversial subject of computer game addiction.
I'm at a premiere of a major blockbuster opening in London. But the stars here are not Hollywood actors. They're virtual characters in a computer game.
I just can't believe how many people are here just to buy a game. It's now 11:10 at night, and most of these people, if not all of these people, have come here to buy a copy of StarCraft. This queue has gone back from Oxford Street right round the corner to the end of this road.
In the past 5 years, computer gaming has exploded in popularity.
I love playing video games.
I play games every day. I've been waiting for this game for a very long time.
We spend more than $3 billion a year on gaming, more than we spend on film or music. And gaming has shed its nerdy image to become an essential part of youth culture. As a parent, I often wonder what effect it will have on my children. It's an immersive, interactive, cinematic experience, but is it too much for some people to handle? In Nottingham, Joe Staley has enjoyed computer games since he was a small child, but then he bought an Xbox.
I just seem to spend more and more time playing. It started with Grand Theft Auto 4, moved on to, I think it was Call of Duty 4, which was the new one at the time.
Call of Duty is the best-selling game in Britain. It allows players to fight battles against each other over the internet.
I wouldn't move from my bed because my controller would be on my side table. I'd turn it on, play, then realise it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It could be up to a full 12 hours or more, or overnight.
When did you first notice that you had a problem?
When I stopped going to lectures, ran out of money, and had friends ringing me up telling me that I was playing too much.
I realised that he was addicted before he did. He would eat, sleep and play games. And sort of generally being a social person just all went out the window, and gaming just became his occupation, I suppose you could say. Like, this is what he did.
Why? Why do you think you were addicted to this game, and what do you mean by addicted?
I couldn't physically pull myself away from the console. I could go 2 or 3 days without sleep just because I was playing a game, and that to me sounds like an addiction.
His habit cost him dearly. He's been thrown out of university and left thousands of pounds in debt, partly from buying games. It's a fate 20-year-old Leo, not his real name, is trying to avoid. 3 years ago he bought World of Warcraft.
Easy. It started off being addictive because there were a lot of stuff I wanted to do at the maximum level, so I would spend as many hours as I could until I finally got to level 70.
With more than 12 million players globally, World of Warcraft is one of the most successful computer games ever made. Players can explore its mythical world for a monthly fee.
you substitute the real world for this world. I mean, 2 years I've been playing 12 hours of the day online for 2 years, if you want to look at it that way. It was fun while you're playing, but then when you think about the derogatory effect it's having in your life, then then obviously you don't feel so good.
His university work is suffering. He's lost contact with his friends and damaged his relationship with his family.
I would never inflict this game on anyone. This game is just a disease. It's just horrible. It's very hard to explain properly. It's one of those things you really have to experience.
He's now decided to go cold turkey and stop playing the game.
I'm really trying not to, I'm doing a lot of things that I otherwise wouldn't have done to fill up time and to motivate me.
Oh man, this is really hard.
This is Pong, the first commercially successful home video game.
7-0.
Games have come a long way since the 70s. The National Media Museum in Bradford is a good place to come if you want to see how far. These photos exhibited here show what a powerful form of entertainment they've become.
Basically, I film people through the screen on very high resolution video and capture their expressions as they play video games or watch TV.
Robbie Cooper has spent the last 7 years taking these pictures.
What was the difference between those that were playing computer games, PC games, and those that were watching television?
The video game pulls people in much quicker. That kid over there, he cries when he plays video games because he doesn't blink. He is so engrossed in what he's doing that he literally loses the blink reflex and he just starts crying.
I've seen some of these expressions on my boy's face when he plays. Like these kids, he's not addicted. But I sometimes wonder how much is too much. Stories of computer game addiction are nothing new. But it isn't recognised as a medical condition, and some argue it's a product of media hysteria.
In the early 1900s, we were worried about the waltz. In the 1950s, we were worried about the demonising of society by rock and roll. Now it's games.
Ian Livingstone's company makes the Lara Croft Tomb Raider series.
You could say people get addicted to football, get addicted to the internet. They used to say that people were addicted to television.
There are people out there who do say that they've become addicted to games.
They might have addictive personalities. They might be addicted, inverted commas, to some of the other entertainment experiences. But there's no formal published medical evidence saying that games are addictive anywhere in the world.
He's right to a point, but there are growing calls from some in the international scientific community to have gaming addiction formally recognised. The World Health Organization has described addiction to some games as a serious threat to the mental health of young Europeans. But the industry body UKI says research shows games boost intelligence, reduce stress and are valuable learning tools. Something passive media like TV would do well to emulate.
Playing video games and participating in interactive entertainment is a much more beneficial activity than participating in a passive medium. And actually, there are many, many positive things that can derive from that.
When Alison Dando's son, Chris, started refusing to go to school, she had no idea why.
Initially, we didn't connect it to the computer game playing at the start because it was just something that every boy did, and particularly a lot of the boys that we knew and friends of ours. Yeah, we had the internet. Yeah, both the children had computers in their bedroom, but there was nothing that particularly alarmed us.
Chris had been playing World of Warcraft through the night.
It brought you into another world. Like, you could be what you wanted to be. You were a warrior, you were a shaman, you were a mage. You could have the best weapon. It was like, you know, I've got to stay at home, I've got to do this.
He was playing for up to 20 hours a day.
I remember there was one point where I think our actual internet just went down, and I started sweating and I actually started shaking just because I couldn't play it.
Once I understood that this game was online, I was saying, right, okay, well, the answer to it is we cut off the internet. That's it. And the response was just an outpouring of violence. He just went berserk.
I put on a boot and I kicked a hole in my sister's door. I just smashed anything I could see.
It was really scary.
It got to the point where, you know, my dad almost had to pin me down on the ground.
That was the point where we started to really understand, from a parental point of view, gosh, this is dangerous. This is a dangerous tool in our house.
One of Britain's leading child psychiatrists says he's treating a growing number of cases like Chris.
I do think this is something that needs national recognition. In many ways, this can be an invisible problem because a young person is not necessarily creating any immediate alarm. They'll be quietly tapping away at a keyboard in their room, and there is no immediate risk to them that would be apparent.
66% of 5 to 16-year-olds have their own console. Could this be a hidden problem building up in homes across the country? I went to meet a world authority on the psychological impact of computer games.
The good news is that for the vast majority of people, video games is something that's very positive in their life. But we have to take on board that there is a growing literature that suggests for a small but significant minority, things like gaming can be potentially problematic. My research has consistently shown people seem to display the signs and symptoms that you get with other more traditional addictions.
He says there isn't enough research to be certain how serious the problem is.
People put money into alcohol and tobacco addiction, maybe even into gambling addiction, but in gaming addiction it's kind of so new, people don't see it as an important research area to look into.
The little research that has been done suggests it's online games that cause the most concern. In the UK, we still play mostly console games, but that's changing. Within 5 years, the government wants all of us to have broadband internet access. One inspiration for this plan is South Korea, the country with the world's most developed internet network. 85% here have fast broadband and more than half play online games. But the government says it's created addicts. I've come to see what we can learn. At first glance, our digital future looks bright. Even here on the underground, not only can they make telephone calls, they can connect on the internet and play online games. Korea's broadband revolution will help their economy grow by 6% this year. But it's come at a price. This is a boot camp for Korean youngsters addicted to gaming. Sang-uk's been brought here by his mum. Why did you send him to the camp?
He was too engrossed in the games. He would sometimes spend 10 hours playing them.
Eun-suk says gaming has taken over Sang's life. He's stolen from her to play at internet cafes, and his education's suffering.
He would even fall asleep in school.
What was so important about the game that nothing else mattered?
It's just fun, and I can't find anything else to do.
The Korean government believes that 2% of Korea's 11 to 16-year-olds are seriously addicted to gaming. High-speed internet has added an intoxicating dimension to gaming, allowing people to play with and against each other online. It's Saturday evening, and instead of going out for a drink or going to a nightclub, young Koreans come to PC Bangs to play games. PC Bangs are internet game cafes. There's one on almost every street corner. and most are open 24 hours a day. They've helped turn gaming into a national sport. There's a professional league, and the best gamers are celebrities. But people have played themselves to death. Since 2005, there have been at least 12 deaths linked to gaming addiction. Some had developed blood clots from sitting still for so long. They were extreme cases of an estimated 3 million Koreans thought to be addicted to games. And this March, another death made headlines around the world. A couple were arrested after their baby starved to death while they played a computer game.
One of the saddest things is that the couple lived in this basement flat just here, and 10 feet away over there is the PC bang they spent so much of their time.
The mother was sent here for psychological assessment at UG University's Department of Addiction. The couple had low IQs and both were depressed. They were playing a game called Prius online for up to 18 hours a day. Remarkably, it involves protecting a virtual child.
Did the game not remind her of her own child?
She was mentally not that stable to begin with, and being absorbed by the game, she lost the sense of reality.
And while they looked after their virtual child, their real daughter was fed just once a day. She died of malnutrition.
As a parent myself, I was very sad when I heard about this case. Actually, I cried a lot. I think this is a very painful case.
In Korea, experts have found that problem gamers often have underlying emotional issues, and it's adolescent boys like Sang most commonly affected. Here the focus is on replacing their virtual relationships with real ones. It's crucial to rebuild bridges between Sang and his family.
Well, I used to hit him a lot. But you need to talk and communicate a lot to understand the child. I regret not having done that in the past.
I think it's much more fun to be playing outside than playing games. I think I'll be waking up earlier, I won't be falling asleep at school, and I'll be spending a lot less time playing games.
Before leaving Korea, I went to see the man charged with preventing the next generation of so-called addicts. While gaming addiction is yet to be officially recognised as a medical condition, he believes it's real and is heading our way.
I believe without proper countermeasures, the UK will also face the same problems that Korea is facing, when games become more accessible through high-speed internet throughout your country.
Britain's already experiencing the power of online games. This summer, a mum in Kent had her 3 children taken into care after she neglected them and let her dog starve to death while she played online. And across the country, millions compete against each other or explore fantasy worlds together. We've even got our own Korean-style professional league. Gamers here at Britain's biggest online games festival were aware of the dangers.
Everyone can have a laugh and say that you can't get addicted to gaming, but it's obvious that some people do.
Several people on my friends list online have racked up maybe 150 hours a week.
The more you play and the less interaction you have with the outside world, the more you get sucked into it and the harder it is then to get out of it.
And there was one game mentioned more than any other: Blizzard Entertainment's World of Warcraft. Remember Leo? I wondered if he was winning his battle to stop playing. The news wasn't good.
I think I've got the situation somewhat under control. Certainly more control than before.
What happened?
Well, I was pretty bored to start with. I didn't have anything to do.
It was boredom. That was the final.
It was boredom, and I did miss my friends, you know?
Online, you mean your friends?
Yeah.
On here?
You know, it is fun to play the game. Don't think it's not fun. Sorry, one sec.
You can't talk while you're playing?
Well, focusing on this at the moment. So, wait, we're about to kill this guy. Come on! Damn. So, sorry, I'll leave this for a second.
How much are you playing the game? Be honest.
More than 6 hours, at least.
Day?
Yeah, I suppose.
More than 6 hours?
Sorry. Well...
Just sitting here talking to me now while you're playing this game. You seem uncomfortable, you seem like I'm irritating you because you want to play your game.
Well, no offence, but you kind of are. I'm dying here a lot. I'm playing pretty badly.
How do you feel that you're now playing the game again?
What bothers me more than anything is I couldn't find a substitute.
There are millions of things for you to do out there. Look for new friends, find a girlfriend, you know, do the things that young men of your age do.
Yeah, I have a problem. I need to cut down. But I really would like to have it in my life, but controlled.
One award-winning games designer thinks it's time the industry accepts that some online games may encourage obsessive playing.
I think people don't necessarily understand how powerful some game mechanics can be. It's one thing to think, okay, I'm playing too much, but it's another thing to just stop playing, because some games are designed in a manner that you just don't want to leave.
He says powerful psychological techniques are used.
The first one is by using this idea called the variable rate of reinforcement, which is basically like a jackpot, so a slot machine.
The idea was developed after scientists discovered rats, taught to feed themselves by pressing a lever, would press it obsessively when the food appeared randomly.
And people have found that this works on humans as well. If you go and give people a lever to press or a button to press and give them random rewards based on pressing that, you know, they'll do it all the time.
In games, instead of food, you randomly get extra lives or extra in-game features to keep you playing. The idea is to create a compulsion loop to keep us coming back for more. It's simple but powerful, and is thought to explain why people get addicted to slot machines.
It's a nice little psychological trick, and for most people this will not be something that's bad. But if you've got if you've got that vulnerability or susceptibility to an addiction, is that will keep you in the game probably far in excess of what the normal person would do.
I think the industry needs to start thinking about this a lot more, because games are becoming so much more widespread and because they're becoming so much more powerful.
I took our findings to Yuki, the body that represents the industry.
Looking at the evidence, there's a very mixed picture, and there's not a clear view on whether the actual game itself is causing addiction or whether it is a problem around certain aggressive, compulsive behaviours of individuals. More research is needed to actually understand what the processes are and what is actually happening.
Are you willing to fund the research, if not directly, indirectly?
The industry will look at opportunities to support the research that needs to be done.
Just to know that we can...
For some parents, this isn't enough.
To the gaming industry, I would say, think about, that people do become addicted, and think about ways of improving communication about that.
What the industry has to say is that we accept that for a vast majority of our people they have no problems, but we do accept that a small proportion of people basically play our games to excess and in a small minority of cases become addicted. So it's about giving people enough information to make an informed choice.
The industry puts age ratings on games and has a safe gaming website. Is it time to warn about addiction?
Because the evidence is unclear, we want to ensure that parents are not frightened and not alarmed. However, we should be and we will be advising parents to look out for excessive or problem gaming traits amongst their children.
Why is that not on your website at the moment?
I can't answer that, but we'll review that content.
To date, the website still doesn't mention addiction as a risk to a small minority of gamers, and it remains to be seen how serious the industry is about funding the research that needs to be done. Till that happens, parents won't know about the potential dangers in their homes. Joe only stopped gaming when his dad threw his console out of the house after he lost his place at university. He's now a freelance filmmaker and is much happier in the real world.
My advice for people who have been in my situation: put the controller down, take a deep breath, go ring a friend. Go ring a friend and go out and get smashed. Just go and enjoy yourself, basically.
Joe still games, but at his mates. He doesn't trust himself to own a console.
I'll get everything done that I need to do for the day. Then I'll sort of reward myself with a game.
I'll lay me down tonight.
It took Chris 2 years to beat his demons, but he's not angry at the people who made the game.
Blizzard Entertainment aren't the people to blame. They make a bloody brilliant game. They make a really good game. They know how to keep people interested. But then you're going to have the small bunch that are going to get really into it so much that, you know, that's just their life.
And Blizzard Entertainment told us,
our games are designed to be fun. But like all forms of entertainment, day-to-day life should always take precedence. World of Warcraft contains practical tools that assist players and parents in monitoring playing time.
I've come to a major exhibition in London to see the latest generation of games. It's easy to forget the benefits and sheer joy they can bring. I don't want to stop my son from gaming, but I'm going to keep an extra close eye on him to make sure he games safely.
Raphael Rowe reporting there. Hard to believe, isn't it, that the ping pong game that Raf was playing, Pong they called it, is nearly 40 years old now. If your child loses it when you try to stop them playing a computer game, don't panic. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're addicted. But if you do want advice, there are safe gaming tips on our website, as well as links to more information.
Next week, Baby P in his mother's words, were the warnings missed in an interview filmed 4 months before his death.